now going to do the Year 7 Reproduction Knowledge Organiser. Nice. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide if the following changes are changes that occur in boys, girls, or both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a big B for boys, I'm going to do a big G for girls, and both I'll just leave blank. Okay, so hips widen is girls, voice breaks is boys, grow facial hair, boys, growth spurt, that's both, sperm produced, boys, period starts, girls, emotional changes, both, breast develop, girls, ovaries release eggs, girls, grow pubic hair, both. So there we go. Those are the changes that happen in boys or girls or both. Now we now have a cheeky join up the things here we have to do. So gotta remember that puberty is the changes in our body, whereas adolescence is the emotional changes as well. Now, hormones, they are chemical messengers that trigger the start of puberty. Growth is when cells turn into more cells, and a growth spurt obviously is a time of rapid growth. Lots of biology stuff to remember there. Now, we now need to be able to label the male reproductive system with all these bits. Now, we've got the words down there. This bit up here, this is a tricky one. These are the glands, okay? And these, okay, add a liquid, don't do the join up. These add a liquid to the sperm to make semen. This is the penis. Fantastic. This is the scrotum. It's the sac of, or the bag of skin that holds the testes. These are the testes. Okay, this is where the sperm is made. And finally, this one says sperm tube. I would call it a sperm duct myself. If you write either in the test, I'll say they're both right. And the sperm tube, simply its job is to carry sperm to the penis. Now, we now have the female parts, which to be honest, people tend to remember more. I don't know why, since they seem to spend most of their time drawing the male ones on my tables. Anyway, this one here is the ovary. Okay, this one here is the oviduct. This big one in the middle here, this is the uterus. We have the cervix, and finally the vagina. Now, what do all these parts do? Let's have a look. Ovary, this is where the egg is made. There we go. The oviduct is where the ovum travels through this to the uterus. The uterus is where a baby will grow. The vagina is a flexible tube through which the baby is born. And the cervix is the opening to the uterus. Brilliant. Now, here we go, drawing some cells. So we're going to draw a picture of an egg cell. So I'm just going to draw it. I'm just going to draw a little blob. That'll be the nucleus. I'm going to draw a layer around it. Now that is, I'm going to call that the protective layer. I'm going to call that the nucleus. I love drawing cells. Now, sperm. Basically, your typical sperm looks a bit like this. If you want to be technical, I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of mitochondria there, and then you have a tail. But you have a pointed head. Okay? You have a long tail there, and you have your nucleus in there. Okay? Again, try and make this as pointy as you can without spending too much time on it. Okay. We have some overlap between pages here, which is very annoying. The female sex cells in humans and other animals is called an egg cell. It is made in the ovary. Now this on your booklet, by the way, is all on one page. Hang on. We appear to have cut out some things here. We're missing some words, okay? It says the male sex cell in other animals is called a, let's just write it down, it's a sperm. They are made, I'll just keep going, in the testes. Okay, now sperm, the next bit basically goes when a sperm and an egg join together, that is the process of fertilization. I don't know why we're missing a chunk of the booklet, but we appear to be. Anyway, oh, it's over here. I didn't go far enough. Okay, so this is sperm. This is testes. The sperm and the egg, or egg and sperm, whichever way around you put it. This is called fertilization. Lovely. Now, the menstrual cycle. Let's have a go. Days 1 to 5. The lining is lost from the uterus. This is called a period. Okay? Noise. Day 15, I'm gonna go the other way. Why not? The lining of the uterus stops to develop if the egg cell was not fertilized. Beautiful. Now, the next two. Day 14, a ripe egg cell is released from an ovary. This is called ovulation. Now on day 6 to 13, the lining of the uterus thickens up to get ready for a fertilized egg. Right, pregnancy and birth. Now here we have the parts of the female reproductive system when the baby is developing. Okay, at the top here we have the, hang on, I've lost my pen, hold on a second guys. At the top here we have the uterus. Below that is the placenta. Below the placenta there is the umbilical cord. It's a very small box. Below that, that is the fetus. And finally we have the amniotic fluid. Nice. And next, we've got some more words to fill in. It says, when a baby is born, it passes out of the uterus, through the cervix and the vagina. The muscular walls of the uterus contract to push the baby out. The cervix and the vagina expand to allow the baby to pass through. After the baby is born, something passes out of the uterus through the vagina. That is the placenta, which always comes out afterwards. Nice. Some people eat it, you know. I'm not going to say nice about that. Now, here we have a drawing of a graph. So we've just basically got to plot the bars, okay? Now this is very difficult on this pad, but that's a mouse. Squirrel is 30, so it's something like that. Squirrel is 30, so it's something like that. Kangaroo, on the other hand, is 40 days. So our bar will be there. That will be for a kangaroo. Lovely. Now, ape, big jump up there to 200. It's not the best bar in the world, but I will survive. That's an ape. Okay. And human up here. Okay. Each box is basically 20. So it's 280. Okay. That's a human. Now, it says, which is the biggest animal? That's a human, as far as I'm aware. I mean, when we talk about apes, I don't think we're talking about gorillas and stuff. They're bigger than humans. And kangaroos, surprisingly, while large kangaroos can be bigger than the average person, on average, people are bigger. Okay, which animal has the longest gestation period? Human. Which is the smallest animal? Mouse. Which animal has the shortest gestation period? Mouse. And basically, the smaller an animal is, the shorter it's pregnant. Now please note, if you'd said it, the bigger the animal is, the longer it's pregnant, also fine. Now that moves us nicely on to the plant reproduction part. Okay, now we have now got to label this. Now this bit, the bits on the end here, that is the pollen grain. Okay, and they are produced by the stamen. Okay, this up here is the stigma. That's where the pollen is deposited into the ovary, which is down here where the egg cells are. Okay, this obviously is a petal. Lovely. Now we have now got to fill in the table to mark each part of the job it does. Okay, the stigma is where the sex cells go. The egg cell is the female sex cell. The pollen is the male ones. The anther makes that. The ovary makes that. And the petal attracts insect to the flowers. We're rocking through this now, guys. 2 pages to go. Now, here we have some very interesting diagrams, and we are going to have a good look at them. Now, it says about flowers being pollinated. Now, first of all, we've got to say that we've got to think about tube grows from the plant, the nucleus moves down, this turns into a seed. Okay, so that obviously is the very end there. Okay, now we have got to go with, first of all, we've got a bee landing on a flower. Okay, now that the pollen from the stamen sticks to it. Now to me that looks like that one. Now you may pick that as number 2. Okay, I was not entirely, I can't tell the difference. Maybe a biologist, I'll have to ask one why they're different. But anyway, they look the same to me, basically saying a job. Now the bee then flies to another flower and carries the pollen with it. Okay, and the pollen from the bee sticks to the stigma, which then travels down and turns into a seed. Lovely. Now, finally, we have a little bit of seed dispersal. Now you have to think about which way these will be dispersed. Hard, heavy fruits are drop and roll. They fall off and they roll away. Light seeds with parachutes, the wind blows them away, and seeds in a pod are spread by explosions, where they go poof and they are spread around. Now, put these features in the correct column for dispersal by either animals or by wind. Okay, feather extensions, wind, so they blow away. Hooks, animals, so they get stuck. Surrounded by soft sweet fruit, animals, so they eat them. Not digested, animals, because the wind doesn't digest things. Wing-like extensions, I would go with wind, because they're going to blow away. Lightweight, wind, because they're going to blow away. Sticky, animal, so they stick on the animal. I would go with those. Those seem good to me. Right, guys, that is the end of the biology knowledge organizer for reproduction. I hope this video was of some use to you.